Welcome back. Yes, still Breakfast Central on News Central, and we'll be going straight to the impact. And don't forget, you can join the discussion right here using the hashtag #NCBreakfastCentral. Now, today on the impact is all about World Food Day. It's a day of international action dedicated to tackling global hunger and suggesting better human diet. Held annually on 16th of October, people from around the world come together to declare their commitments to eradicate worldwide hunger. The day promotes worldwide awareness and action for those overweight. This can all be changed with appropriate coordination according to the health and food experts. Now, this year, the World Food Day is calling for action across sectors to make healthy and sustainable diets affordable and accessible to everyone. At the same time, now it calls on everyone to start thinking about what they eat. Now, joining me to discuss, themes around today's Our Action and Our Future is Ayodeji Rotimi, or Deji Rotimi, who's a food expert. He's been here about 12 years of experience in 8 years of experience in agribusiness industry, spanning 2 continents, and has acquired, lots of experience across various convergent subsectors such as cold chain aggregation, farmer outgrower management, extension services, information technology, financial inclusion, and management systems. Well, Deji, that's a lot. Welcome to the show. Good morning. Well, today is World Food Day, and the theme for this year is Our Actions, Our Future. I want to come to the place of food accessibility and food security. First of all, we know that security is being thrown about, and I can say the word thrown about when it comes to programs, whether it's United Nations or some aid organization. What does that one first mean?
You mean what?
Food
security.
Yeah.
Well, it boils down to 4 things.
Okay.
Accessibility, pricing, basically affordability, nutrition, and quantity.
Okay.
So first you have to have access to the food. When you get access to it, you have to have enough quantity for everybody. And then it has to be affordable. And then once you even get that to be affordable, it has to be nutritious. So you can have gari, and then you can't eat gari all day, every day, and you get kwashiorkor, So those 4 pillars would guarantee food security.
Yeah, so why, especially in Africa, do we have this, huge problem when it comes to, and they say they're having food security problems,
Right.
Food accessibility is a huge challenge, whether for private or for governments as a whole.
Exactly. So everything is based on the system. So we always hear of the post-harvest loss, since everyone's grown up. So basically there's poor to no structured supply chain ecosystem in place. So let's say
basically we're unable to meet our food production needs.
Well, I would say the system is not there. So from farmer production to logistics to aggregation, how do you get your food? You see them tomatoes, half of it is under the sun and is destroyed all the way. So there's no structured system, and that is what is breaking the backs of the farmers. They do all the work, but then from when they harvest to when you get it, it's a whole different.
So that's that gap, that space is what needs to be breached, especially for the final consumer who then needs to get the
the nutrition bits and safe food, because now you're even getting food. In fact, the pillars, you probably have to put safety there, because here we're now consuming dangerous food that we don't know what is going into it. Because it passes through many hands.
Yeah. Now you've seen this across different continents, and you've been doing this for years in the agribusiness sector. Yeah. So what do you think can be done to have these systems in place, or have you seen any model where it works even within Africa, because we are being Africa specific now?
Fair enough. So it's good you said that, because we as a company and some other private sector have been building that. I mean, it's taken us about 10 years or so to get to where we are. So we have about 15 warehouses across the country with cold chain facilities, but these things are expensive, very expensive. And the thing is, you can't, in agribusiness or in food systems, you can't work in isolation. So by default, we have to, you have to work with everybody in the ecosystem. So if they're having challenges, you can be good. You can be a Dangote in your field, but you still need those farmers. And if those farmers can't produce or can't get the products to you to do what you need to do with it, you're just there. So you have to actually go invest in them. And that's where you have the government, CBN, whatever program, they want to support the farmers and stuff. But the thing first is, a lot of times they don't understand the full scope of the problem. So how do you fix a problem when you don't understand it? So you just throw money at it, and hence why you don't get the result. And then you have, so also you don't put round pegs in square holes, so to speak. So you have people with the money don't understand what is to be done, and their motivation is not aligned with, they have a 4-year motivation. You know, most politicians is 4 years, in fact, 2.5 years. Short-term in agric is minimum 5 years. If you're going to do anything, minimum, just say, I just want to test it out and see how it is. Look back after 5 years. Medium term, we're talking about 10, 12 years. Long term, 30, 40 years. And then you have different products that you fit into that. And, you know, the cocoa we keep shouting that we're doing was done before any of us was born. You know, and then we're getting the value today. So we have to be serious and say, look, we're going to do things with a political will, with a national interest, and get it done. Because we might not benefit from it, but it needs to be done. So the government, well, we need to build a system, understand the real problem, and be sincere enough.
You know, some of the themes that I talked about during the intro and the context looked at things like not just for security, but also and access, but malnutrition and obesity, which is two different ends of a spectrum. When we look at Africa and some regions, malnutrition, which means we're not getting the right amount of what we need on the table, the basic...
the vitamins, the food class.
And the obesity, which means perhaps perhaps just getting one source of a stream that's led to unhealthy eating,
and then
fast food chains.
The kids. Well, it even affects the kids in learning. You know, from 1 to 4 years old, that's where you learn the majority. And then if you're, what do you call it? If you don't get it right with the nutrition and everything at that point, they're stunted. Yes.
In some areas.
We are part of the school feeding program. So that was the main reason why the school feeding program came in, because you wanted to catch them young so that you don't have a whole generation of people that have been stunted, but you don't really know because it's kind of too late. But they don't develop, their brains don't develop fully and things like that. So
it's World Food Day 2019. When you look at, you know, obesity and malnutrition, and you look at Africa, and you look at, you talked about the problems we have in the farming and distribution, and before it gets to the final consumer. Do we need like something like a national approach or consciousness, like, okay, this should be the basic things to get for whether it's for child or an adult, and this has to be delivered on the table to make it staple?
To be honest, we all know what the problem is. We know the solution. Everybody knows what it is. It is the political will to get it right. As I said, to motivate anybody, everybody's always self-interested and self-motivated. Now, politicians, what is their first motivation? Is to win elections, whichever way possible. So when you hear low-hanging fruit, what that means is, what can I do now that's going to get me votes next time? So what they do is probably they share fertilizer and they buy machines or something that they're going to cheer for. But holistically, that doesn't do anything. So they're going to always, but they're the ones with the power to make that happen. But then you have the guy that needs to do the business and he needs a certain amount. He needs infrastructure to be in place. Otherwise, he's going to have to fuel, power, and do all those things. You're like a little local government in your own place. So,
and distribute.
And then you get financing, and then the financing comes at ridiculous cost. So it's the ecosystem that is faulty. So even if I've seen a lot of billionaires that have gone to agric, they still fail because they can't do everything. You can do as much from your point, but how about after you produce how are you going to get to the market? Then you try to invest in that. There's some things that money can't fix. It's time and experience. But then if everybody, even in agric, you don't even have enough manpower for the right technical expertise. So you can have a $50 million farm. I can guarantee you're not going to see adequate staff that will man that.
It's good you pointed out, staff and manpower and know-how beyond just the farming of beyond just being the farmer in terms of the whole ecosystem of you know getting it to the table, to the market, to the final end consumer as we need them. Many governments in Africa, you know, there's been this theme, you know, recently about youths, go back to the farms, you know, go and farm, go and not just invest, but also go there and put money.
Whatever it is you're doing, they want to do. So if you want to encourage young people to go into farming and agriculture, show them somebody that has succeeded and is doing well in it. Because the person that is pushing them, he's sitting in his office and AC escorts and stuff, and you're telling people to go do backbreaking work. The ecosystem doesn't exist. So when people say this, it's you say it's in isolation because none of them have done that.
So what about, because Africa has a young population. By there are projections in 2050, 2040, Africa will have huge populations that will equate, if not China, but at least the likes of the Indians, especially when you look at Nigeria, already over 20 million people first. A bulk of it is young people between the ages of 16 to 35. And when you tell an African young person, this is World Food Day, in order to have a better counter challenges of food security, let's go back to farming with our expertise, with our education, no matter what should young Africans look forward to or expect in terms of the challenges when they go into agriculture? Because from school, maybe we're not really trained to go into agriculture, but when we graduate and they go they want to go into agriculture, want to leave our laptops and go to the farm.
So the thing is, I actually did a small masterclass on things you should do before even thinking at all. So there were 10. So one of them, so I'll just run through. I can't put everything. So first thing is you have to understand what is agribusiness. I won't use agriculture.
Agribusiness.
Yes, that. What does it entail? What is everything from beginning to end? You have to know, you have to get an ecosystem. You have to get a support group. You need to know how, whenever you decide what you want to play in, you want to know how much the cost is. A lot of times they say, take 200,000. You shouldn't get into agri if you don't have 5 to 8 million, just to start. Because the thing is, it's going to take you at least 3-5 years. And you're going to make mistakes. You're going to lose almost all that money. But it's fine. If you're within an ecosystem and everything, you'll still come back up but then you will have learned a lot. Because without that, you need to have mentors.
Do you support when government say young people like a country like Nigeria now, where we have so much population and it's high unemployment, that, if young people were to move to agriculture, do you support that?
So I support
you've been in the business.
So I'm in it, but I support it to the fact that create that ecosystem for them to survive, because none of them will survive.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Sorry, I'm making it like that, but thank you very much.
That was really hard hitting.
No, I had to. Somebody's got to say it.
All right, I think better than someone who's been there doing business, and we can also call you a young person yourself.
Fair enough.
All right, still Breakfast Central on News Central. It's World Food Day. There's still more to come on this, but we're done for the impact. Thanks so much for Deji for joining us on the show. Had a quite robust discussion. There's some more to come. Stay with us. We'll be right back.